just about everything that comes out of the orange bastard's mouth, to me, is revolting, disgusting, contemptuous. I really do believe that he is not just an incompetent, grifting criminal, but I also believe, and I made this very clear, that I think the man is evil, purely evil. And there was a time when I didn't particularly believe in the word evil. I believed that it was applicable, that evil was a religious term. There was good behavior, there was bad behavior, there was criminal behavior. But evil, well, Trump fits that definition for me now perfectly. And a most recent example, last night, Wednesday night, this orange Nazi bastard downplayed the 2017 white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, which led to a woman's death there. You remember, in August of that year, white nationalists, neo-Nazis, and these Trump supporters descended on Charlottesville. And they were there to protest that city's decision to remove a statue of the Confederate traitor and filthy pig Robert E. Lee. And some of the people in the crowd of white racist demonstrators were chanting, "Jews will not replace us." Jews, I mean, what the fuck? See, there you go again. Picking on the Jews, right? Jews will not replace us. And then one of the little bastards who attended this rammed his car into a crowd that killed a 32-year-old paralegal and injured several other people. Last night, Trump said that demonstration, or rally, actually, Nazi rally, and the death of the woman was, his word, a peanut compared to the demonstrations happening across the United States now against Israel's actions in Gaza. A peanut. See what I mean? I mean, every time this rat bastard opens his mouth, a further indication of the rot in his brain presents. There have been, maybe somebody should tell the son of a bitch this, and maybe somebody should tell Joe Scarborough this too. There have been no reports of any comparable violence occurring during the pro-Palestinian demonstrations that are taking place, mostly on college campuses across the country right now. Now, public officials have condemned incidents of anti-Semitism that have occurred, and usually those incidents are not occurring because of actions taken by students, but by people on the fascist right in this country, operatives who see this as a perfect opportunity to infiltrate, to show up and start screaming shit against the Jews, knowing that the college campuses or whomever will come down on that, and the demonstrations then will get violent, and the police will be called in, and then it turns into a melee of people being clubbed and gassed and shot with pepper spray, as what happened this morning on the Emory campus here in Atlanta. Public officials have condemned incidents of anti-Semitism, and they've raised concerns about the safety of Jewish students, but with respect to my Jewish friends, that is not the purpose or the function or the focus of these demonstrations. The demonstrations are anti-war demonstrations. It just so happens that the government committing these war crimes is run by ultra-Orthodox Jews. Just like the war crimes committed by George Bush. It was run by an I don't know what he was. It was run by a Christian. Just like some of the crimes committed in the Middle East are run by ultra-Orthodox Muslims. Okay? In this case, it happens to be ultra-Orthodox Jews who are the core of the Likud party, which is the party that Netanyahu is part of. Now, Trump's comments about what happened in Charlottesville was just a peanut. What the fuck? Who talks like that? It's his latest attempt to minimize the Charlottesville incident because, you know, it was conducted by his core supporters, neo-Nazis. And back in 2017, he was widely mocked for declaring that there were very fine people on both sides of the demonstrations. And Biden invoked those comments when he announced his 2020 presidential campaign against Trump. And I think Biden should bring that and every rotten, filthy thing that Trump has said, grabbing women by their genitals, Jews will not replace us. Well, they're very fine people in the Nazi party in America. Oh, get the fuck out of here, Trump. Please go away. On his Truth Social little toy platform last night, Trump posted this, quote, "Crooked Joe Biden would say constantly that he ran because of Charlottesville. Well, if that's the case, he's done a really terrible job because Charlottesville is like a peanut compared to the riots and anti-Israel protests that are happening all over our country right now." End quote. And the orange bastard also accused Biden in that post of hating Israel and hating Jews, but hating the Palestinian people even more. I mean, this is how fucked up Trump is. His brain is like a seething mass of maggots. It's just the shit he comes up with. And the Stephen Chung, this crazy son of a bitch who is Trump's campaign spokesman, Stephen Chung, you talk about a Nazi. This fucker is right out of Mein Kampf. But he told CNN when he was asked about Trump's post, Chung said, "President Trump is 100% correct." Well, what else is he going to say, right? And a spokesman for the Biden campaign said in a statement that, quote, "The American people are not going to be lectured to by the guy who called white supremacists very fine people after they chanted Jews will not replace us and killed a woman." End quote. But what Americans remember this? This is 7 years ago. Stop somebody on the street and just say, "Hey, do you remember the situation in Charlottesville with the white supremacists?" And see what kind of an answer you get. Now, Biden had some negative comments on Monday about any, if there have been any, anti-Semitic incidents that have occurred regarding these protests around college campuses. And he said his administration was working to combat anti-Jewish hatred, which he should do, and anti-Muslim hatred, and he shouldn't be contributing billions of dollars for further murder in Gaza. Right, Mr. President? When questioned about the events at Columbia University yesterday, Biden said, quote, "I condemn the anti-Semitic protests. These are not anti-Semitic protests, goddammit. These are anti-war protests. These are anti-murder protests." Why is it so hard for these people to get their minds around? And he added, "That's why I've set up a program to deal with that. I also condemn those who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians." Well, that last part comes out like an afterthought, does it? Well, I also condemn those who don't understand. Understand? You said you condemn anti-Semitic protests, Mr. President, but you're asking that people understand what's going on with the Palestinians? Well, why not condemn that too? Oh, my God. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical Talk Radio Network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.